One person who we know is really keen to help us shine a light on the plight of our pollinators is an actress, director and environmental activist who's been a role model for young children around the world ever since she appeared on screen as Ginny Weasley in the Harry Potter films all those years ago. Good morning and welcome to The Breakfast Show, Bonnie Wright. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi there. Good morning.
Oh, thank you for talking to us this morning, Bonnie. I mean, you've heard the facts and the figures and why we think bees are so important. But tell us where your personal passion for conservation and the environment came from.
Yeah, sure. So it began really with ocean health, just seeing single-use plastics littering our oceans. That led me to do a lot of work with Greenpeace. And I think through that work, through understanding just more about the ecosystem of the ocean, and realizing how we all play a part in protecting it and making it thrive in terms of its biodiversity and how much it gives back to us, like the air we breathe and obviously food for so many people around the world. And it's kind of this similar idea, this idea that we need to protect ecosystems and make them thrive with biodiversity so that they can kind of either regenerate if they're damaged, like oceans, or keep going. So similar idea with bees and pollinating. It kind of is a system that needs to we need to make it keep going and thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that we realise is we all want to do something. It's just finding what we can do and the things that really make a difference. And all the little things do make such a huge difference. Where has it taken you in your life, Bonnie? What are some of the projects that you've been involved with?
Yeah, it's definitely taken me to exciting places, and I've met so many people who, you know, as you say, are each doing their own thing that often can be so individually focused to, you know, their experience or where they live or their skill set or kind of the career they're in. I think that's what's great about conservation and the environment, is that we can each bring like very, you know, individual sort of perspective to it, because we need everyone to show up for the world to be protected. So it's taken me, with Greenpeace, I've been on ships along the Atlantic and Pacific coast of America. I've been to Guatemala with the Rainforest Alliance. I've also been doing a lot of work with them in terms of like sustainable forest management. And it's even more recently taken me to focus all these lovely things that I've learned and kind of desire to empower the individual in this kind of small acts, making a big impact by writing a book. So I've been working on that for a year and it comes out next spring.
Oh, fantastic. What's it going to be called?
Yeah. I can't yet give the title, but I will be very soon. But it's basically this idea that we can each take kind of actions in our day-to-day life that can make us have a bit more of a tangible kind of physical connection to the climate movement. I think all these things can often feel so big and out of our control or out of our like day-to-day perspective. So it's really kind of bringing these issues home to a scale that we can really understand, which is the exact same with kind of how we can get involved in saving the bees.
Fantastic. I really look forward to reading that book, actually, because, you know, we all do our bit at home and sometimes I kind of think, are we doing enough? Should we be doing more? So I really look forward to reading that. Talking about the bees, I mean, you're always really keen to get young people talking and thinking about environmental issues, which is kind of why we've launched our competition for 6 to 12-year-olds, because they have the best imaginations and they really want to get involved in helping the planet. Why is it so important, do you think, for children to get on board here with this lovely project?
Yeah, I think, like you say, that age is such a great age. I remember being at school and wanting to take part in every possible thing I could at that age. And I know that really inspired me later on to do what I'm doing in terms of being involved and interested in taking action. So I think it's really formative years. I think it's years that, as you say, imaginations are kind of running wild and nothing's not possible, I think, at that age, which I think is a really important thing to hold on to, that kind of radical imagination of allowing anything to be possible, whether that's, you know, thriving bee communities and wild, beautiful gardens of every type of beautiful wildflower pollinating thing. So I think it's important age because, there's the imagination. And I think it really just sets us up for, kind of a future where we continue to be interested in that. I feel like if you get interested in that when you're younger, you're likely to continue that through into your sort of young adult years. And I also think that Yeah, I think it brings focus, like a specific thing of the competition to sort of like put your mind to and think like, oh, how would I imagine this? And I think it's empowering as well to individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you thought about the insects, you know, when you're doing your own garden, you know, about sort of leaving bits to grow wild and stuff? Is this something that you've done?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, just I think the best thing you can ever do in a garden is, or any space that you have access to, is just sit and kind of watch what's at play in that landscape, whether that's what birds come through that also could be pollinating, what bees are coming through, and just really witness the space and see like, oh, how could I help harness this to attract more of them? So it's like you kind of think a bit like, how can you invite as many friends to your garden as possible? And whether that's, you know, pollinating certain things, like I have some lavender that just came up that's been attracting the bees, and it's so exciting to see them come with this new plant that's come through in my garden, and just suddenly, you know, seeing, oh, they like that, you know, and you kind of continue to grow those, or it's kind of a trial and error. What can you,
yes,
and how can you
I know,
bring them?
Just working out which plants the bees like. So I'm like, why don't they like these daisies? They don't seem to like these daisies, but there they are. Suddenly yesterday on the lavender, it was absolutely buzzing with bumblebees. I was very excited about that in my own garden.
Yeah.
We can't let you go without asking about Ginny Weasley. 20 years since you made your Harry Potter debut, and the love for Harry and friends is as big as ever. I know you were in Los Angeles last week for another Harry Potter themed event. Are you still enjoying being part of this world after all these years?
Yeah, I think it's wild that we're 20 years since the first film came out, and I think it's just so incredible that, you know, generations are continuing to watch these films. You know, you meet children who weren't alive when we were making them, and yet they're as obsessed as you could imagine. And it's just wonderful that it can be passed through, and I think, as you know, the messages that the movies really represent, this idea of kind of home and goodness and loyalty, I think are just themes that, you know, continually so good for children and all ages to watch. And I think even too, like, for so many people, they find such kind of comfort and solace in Harry Potter and a kind of home in Hogwarts. And I think
really
as
do.
the last years have been quite kind of predictable, I think a lot of people have found sort of this like, oh yeah, this like real safe space I can go to and watch the movies again.
Oh.
So it's lovely that it continues on, and yeah, I get to still be involved in that and meet people who just continue to be impacted by it.
Oh, Bonnie, it's so special to talk to you today, and thank you so much for enthusing about the bees. And I know lots of kids listening will be like, right, that's it, I'm going to go and do my bee garden design. You take care, and do come and talk to us when the book comes out, Bonnie. It'd be lovely to talk to you about it.
Yes, I would love to, yeah.
Okay.
And I do hope that everyone's inspired to save the bees.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bonnie
Thanks, Zoe.
Wright. Thank you, my darling. Here's the Isley Brothers.